Hello there. I'm drinking the Glazen Toren's Saison der Mer. Maybe my favorite clean Saison. And they package the big bottles, the 750s, in this wrapping like this. But they do stubby, maybe half-liter bottles. One time they actually had cans, but I think that was just one time. If you see the cans, they're way too old. So bottle conditioned, traditional Saison. It says 6.5% on the paper, but then on the bottle it says 6.9, so I assume it's probably 6.9. I think the paper is really just to protect from skunking, even though they do use a brown glass. Maybe they used to use green. The green glass lets in more light and leads to more skunking. And it says the bottling date, on the paper it says the bottling date is 2 years before the Best By date, but I can't find the Best By date. There are some numbers on here. 147, 24, 45. Does that mean it was bottled the 147th day of 2024? Maybe. And if it's in that case, then it's rather fresh. I don't see anything on here, but yeah, it's funny how they have a kind of a cheaper label or something. And use, I don't know, than the paper. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, so the brewery's the Glazen, and I really like this beer. I don't have it very often because you don't see it very often. It's kind of obscure, and it might be really old if you do see it. So let's get into it. Yeah, when I got the cans of it, it was this brewery that imports it. I guess it's a brewery / importer. B United is the importer, and they have a brewery called OEC, and they get tanks of beer and can them there. You know, pours really nice head, really nice carbonation, very carbonated. Got slight haze to it, but it looks similar to DuPont. Even more carbonated than DuPont, though. Really nice big head, really thick. But yeah, if you can get the fresh cans, after B United cans something, it's kind of like the fresh you can get it, and it's also not bottle conditioned, so you get really fresh. The hops in your face. That head is just amazing. I just have to do a ridiculous pour here so you can see what's going on. Very nicely bottle conditioned. I could pour more and make an even crazier crown, which you can't really see that well. But then it'd be hard to drink. Yeah, insane carbonation. Not over carb, like it didn't gush at all. Obviously, they know what they're doing here. This brewery seems to be run mostly by one really old guy with a big beard, and they do everything by hand for the most part. That smells fantastic. I always talk about pears with good saisons. Good saisons shouldn't be all bubblegummy and banana-y, and like this one really smells like juicy pear. Almost like they added pear juice to it. And it might be not tart, but just a little low pH. But it's not. This is not sour. This is not wild. There shouldn't be any lactobacillus or Brettanomyces character. They just definitely like open ferment this, so the yeast can really do its thing. And maybe there's a hint of wild character affecting it. I don't know. Maybe if you do get an old bottle of this, it's like 10 years old, it'll get funky or something. But yeah, this is very mild on the phenols. Not very spicy, not very clovey. It just smells like fresh pear and kind of citrusy. Like a light orange spritzer, not super juicy. Yeah, it smells great. It smells like it's quite fresh. And there's a good amount of hoppiness in there, and a good amount of sweetness, which is awesome because I don't like saisons that are so bone dry there's no body to it, and it ends up just being like aspirin-y or too spicy and just lifeless. This one is great. It's sweet, lots of sweet malt flavor, lots of fruity esters, but then and lots of carbonation, but plenty of body. Just like, and it's definitely it's quite dry, and like yeah, that head is kind of nuts. Has this like plateau in the middle of it that's not going away. Mm. And the body, it's got some body to it, but it's like super duper fluffy and light. And yeah, the bitterness is going to build up because it has a lot of these sort of sweet flavors. Just get rid of this. Has all these sweet flavors, but it's quite dry after just a few sips. It's almost like it's dry hopped. It also reminds me of a cask beer a little bit. They probably use British hops in this. We got some really nice lacing, but the hops are very. It just reminds me of when I used to dabble with homebrewing things, and I had some hops in my freezer, and sometimes I would take one of the hops out and like let it soak in a beer and then strain it out. And that reminds me of when you have really good cask beer where it's dry hopped in the cask. It has that kind of quality, that resinous, herbal quality. Just so much aroma. A little bit of a honey nut Cheerios thing. A little bit grassy, but very, very fresh melon. And it just floats on your tongue like a pillow, but exudes so much flavor. And it's kind of a juiciness. It's kind of like, I guess if you had pear cider or something that was heavily hopped, but not probably as tart as that might be. Like this has a lot of the characteristics that you get kind of from like wild ales or wild saisons. Some of that stuff going on, but it's not that. It's just they know how to brew it, and yeah, this is quite hoppy. I bet this is from less than a year ago. Now the finish is getting way more black pepper, and my tongue is quite dried out. Yeah, it's almost too bitter in a way. It's a sipper, and I'm gonna need a burp really soon. It's one where it's like super refreshing, and you want to chug it, but you can't quite chug it. And it definitely goes well with food, cheese. Saison is kind of like the classic thing to go with Thanksgiving dinner. If you ever read a Brewmaster's Table, that's the sort of classic craft beer pairing book by Garrett Oliver, the brewmaster of Brooklyn. He just always talked about how Saison is one of the best beers to pair with food. This one might be a little bit too robust. I mean, he's talking about clean Saison, not necessarily sour, even though some people might like that. But he's like Saison DuPont is not this robust and hoppiness. I guess I should get some DuPont. It's great. I don't drink as much as I should. But this is just like an uber classic Saison. I think this is my favorite. For me, it sets the bar. I guess DuPont kind of sets the bar, but this sets the bar for like DuPont, but way smaller batch, and getting some special things out of that are just like super fine tuned, and this is great. And there's honey-like notes, honeysuckle or whatever, herbal, floral, chamomile, but then it's really got a grapefruit rindy sort of bitterness, spicy, but stops short of clove. Close to a 5 for me. Highly recommended. Oh, 10-minute review. There you go. Bye.